What I'd like to talk to you about today is doing polls on Zoom. It's a fantastic way to get some interaction and some feedback from the people who are attending courses. So I'm going to show you how to set up the polls. So you can set up polls prior to a meeting starting, which is really useful, but also the ability to amend them during or add to them during a stream itself. You'll see what it looks like from the perspective of the host, but also I've set up another screen. You can see that I have joined myself in this meeting. I've set up a second screen so you can see what it looks like from the participants' perspective as well. So you'll get both of these, and I will edit the both screens working side by side so you can see in real time how that works. So I'm just going to minimize myself for a moment and I will get rid of this. Now, most of the functionality that you want from Zoom doesn't come from the app, which is something that I discovered when I was just recently actually, is that if you're using the app version, there's some great interactions you can get from it, but they are not very they're not very deep, whereas the settings in Zoom itself are very important. So if you've got a pro Zoom version and you're going, but where are polls? Where is the breakout rooms as well? They need to be set up in the settings. So go to the browser version, log into your Zoom account on Chrome or Safari, whichever one that you're using, and come over to the settings function over in the corner here. What you've got is loads of options in terms of your meeting rooms, etc. But I'm going to go down and talk to you about the breakout rooms, or the polls in particular. So if you want breakout rooms, you will want to find them. I think it is in meetings basic polling. So here we are. This is an on and off switch. So it is defaulted to off. I don't know why, but polls for some reason are defaulted to off. So you need to turn them on in the settings to be able to use them. Breakout rooms are the same. They're a bit further down. If you're going to use breakout rooms, and I'll probably do a separate video on breakout rooms at some point. But you need to turn them on in the settings. Really important to remember that. Otherwise, you'll be going, where are my polls? If I then back out of that, go to Zoom directly, what I will want to do, I'm just going to move my my face over here, is to go to my account and go to meetings. And these are all the meetings that I've got coming up at the moment. This is the one you can see that's live at the minute. So if I wanted to set a poll up in advance, I'm going to click into this particular one here. Just don't click any of these buttons. Just click the actual name of the course itself, or the meeting that you're doing. And here are all the details that you can look at. But down here, you've not created any polls yet. So if I hit the add button, for instance, I can call it, I'm just going to call this one a test poll. I can type my question into here. So what's the weather like? And we can see my fabulous typing skills. There you go. What's the weather like? So there's your poll. And you have single choice, which means people, so if I put rain, sun, snow, the single choice means they can make a single choice. So they can choose either rain, sun, or snow. If you do multiple choice, you can, let's just check that. What's the weather like? If you do multiple choice, it means they can select multiple ones. So that is our single choice question. If I want to have a series of questions, and I'll show you how this works in a moment, you'll see this live anyway. But if you want to have questions that follow on from each other, you come down to the bottom here and add a question. So in this case, we are going to call this one, I'm just going to put test 2 because I'm feeling lazy. And we're going to do multiple choice, and we will have the answers, 1, 2, 3, 4, which means that when I save that, people can choose 1, 2, 3, and 4, all of them, one of them, two of them. So it means that if you, for instance, one of the things I often ask on courses is, what online services have you used since lockdown started? And I'll have a poll that says, G Suite, Teams, Zoom, whatever it might be. People can click multiple ones and we will be able to get a sense of what people have been using. So that's the difference here. Single choice means they can only choose one answer out of the choices you've given them. Multiple choice means they can select multiple ones. So that's quite nice, and we will then save that, and we can now see here in the at the bottom we got poll 1 test poll. I can edit that. I can add additional questions if I want to. If I want to add a separate question to use at a later point in the meeting, I just hit add, and I'll just do test 2 here, or test 3. This one will be, won't it? Test 3, whatever. Question. I'll just put hello just for a bit there, and we'll have a single choice question which is yes or no, and then I can save that. And you can add as many of these as you like, and they will all be set up and be edited. And this is prior to it. So when this meeting comes around for Ambition Broxbourne, those polls are already there for me to use. Nice and ready, I'm prepared, sorted. And what I'll do is I'm going to now show you in the meeting what that looks like. So within the meeting itself, I'm just going to expand this. I'm recording this using PowerPoint. PowerPoint has a fantastic screen capture piece of software that does a phenomenal job, and there is a tutorial on my channel that shows you how to do this. I'll probably put it as an end screen, seeing I've mentioned it for you. But at the bottom of the screen here, now we've got polls. Now this is a different meeting, but I have set up some polls. I'm going to be doing this meeting later on today. If I click onto here, we've got the poll questions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start recording on my second screen. So what you should now be able to see is me twice. There's this main one here where you can see the launch poll, and there's another screen which is someone who's attending the course. This is what they're going to see. So at the moment they see nothing. So I've got my polls here, and I've got this one: what's the weather like near you? Grey and dismal, sunny, tropical, monsoon. And then we have Zoom, MS Teams, Slack, WhatsApp. So which of these online resources? And it tells them that it's multiple choice, that you can select multiple ones. I would always tell people that, always narrate your courses. All I need to do to get started is to launch polling like this, and what you will see is on the other screen the polls come up. So I'm going to look away for a second, and here I am as a participant, and you can now see this screen. I am going to, what is it? I'm looking out the window. It's a bit grey and dismal, to be honest with you, here in Flitwick today. So I've selected that as an option, and then down here, which of these have you used? Now actually I've used every single one of these since lockdown, including others. So I can actually answer all of those questions. So you can see I've got a single question, which means if I change to sunny, I can only select one of these options. These ones, I can select all of them. And when you've finished, the participant can hit the submit button. Okay, and the poll disappears from their screen, and now we can see the results. So we can see that all of this stuff here, we can see that it's grey and dismal at the moment. And what we do is once we're ready, and you can see, if you got, it says at the top here, it says attendees now viewing questions 1 of 1. If you've got 17 attendees, it will tell you how many of them have answered the poll. Now, if 1 or 2 of them haven't answered the poll, it might be that they're, in the loo, or it could be that they're not comfortable with using the technology. They just want to look, they just want to observe, or they're just being lazy and can't be bothered. But once you've got a significant number of people including the poll, you can say, right, there's a couple of people who haven't voted yet, another couple of seconds, and we'll end the poll. Maintain control flow. Don't wait for everyone. If it's a minute and a half later, they're not going to vote. If they haven't voted by now, they're not going to vote. So you end polling. And what you have is the ability to share results. So if I share results, you will see on this screen now your participant can see, what the results are. So now you can see that right in front of my lovely face here are the results. So I see this, they see that. They can close it at any point if they want to. If they close it, then click back on the polls, which will bring it back up again. It won't disappear until I say stop sharing results. And now you'll see that it stopped showing results. The poll is still up. If I want to relaunch the poll a second time, I click on it, eliminates all. So you might have a yes or no. You might have a poll that's simply yes or no, and you have a number of kind of true or false or yes or no questions throughout. There's no point in having a different poll for every single yes or no question. You can have this one, just relaunch it and say click yes, click no. But again, we've got the same thing going on, which is fantastic. I am going to end polling. We'll share results, so you can see that again. No one voted because they're all too lazy. We can close that, and I'll close this back down again. Later on in the course, you want to do the second poll. So if we click on that, remember I did these, which together, I said add question. So we had 2 questions, one after another. That's this poll here. If I go, stop sharing results here. If I go to the top here, we've got poll 1. If I click on this arrow, we've got poll 2. That's the second poll. That is the other one I did. If you click on that, now we've got the best fictional wizard. We've got Dumbledore, Skullduggery Pleasant, and Gandalf. And if you don't know who Skullduggery Pleasant is, I would highly recommend the Skullduggery Pleasant books by Derek Landy. They are brilliant and they are hilarious. And Skullduggery Pleasant is probably my favourite. Gandalf probably just about, I can't vote. If I launch that poll again, we can see over here, we'll click Skullduggery Pleasant on my second screen, submit. And there we go. We can see that we've had 1 vote for Skullduggery Pleasant. We hit the end polling. You can see the results. I share results and they pop up on this second screen over here. All very instantaneous, all very easy. Then I can stop sharing results and everything disappears. Oh, I clicked on the wrong one. Stop sharing results. X out of it. Poll's done. Okay, so you might want to add a poll during the course itself. So in a break or something like that, you just might say, I want to do a quick vote. Let's do a quick poll. Bear with me. I'm just going to set things up. You can come back down to the poll section and you've got edit up here. And if you click on edit, up pops this. And you can then, we can call this one test 4. Type your question here. I'll just put test. We'll make it single choice and we'll give it a Y or an N. Obviously, you can be a little bit more deep about this, but I'm just trying to do this nice and quickly. And again, we can add questions to have a series of questions for people to answer. I'm just going to hit the save button. If I minimize this and go here, we should now have poll 3. Yes or no? Launch polling. There it is over here. I'm going to answer in the negative. Submit my answer. I can see that. I can end polling. I can share results. My screen sees those results. I stop sharing, close that down. Voila. That is how you set up and use polls within Zoom. You can see that for yourself now. Only the host, the person who created the meeting, can edit the polls live. So if you're on your account and you have written the polls yourself, you can very simply go in and do everything that I've done. But if you are hosting someone else's thing, so I've done a couple of courses where I have been made a host of someone else's Zoom meeting. I will not be able to edit polls. Only the person who created the polls can edit them. So if you are not using some, if you are a co-host or you've been made a host of someone else's Zoom meeting and you need to edit a poll, you'll need to talk to the person who's the originator of the course and say, I'd just like to add a poll. Would you mind adding one in? Because you can't edit because it all lies on that person's account. But if you've created the Zoom meeting, if you've added the polls yourself, you can edit them and use them. If you are hosting someone else's meeting or you're a co-host on the meeting, you can still access the polls and you can set them out there and you can open them up, close them, share that stuff. What you can't do is edit them and add additional ones to it. So that's very, if you do something that I want to add a poll and you come up and says, where's the edit button? It's probably because you are hosted by someone else. So only if you want to edit, you can only do that whilst you are hosting one of your own meetings. I hope that is clear. You can scroll back and have a look at it. It's a great interactive method, particularly for larger groups where it's not as easy to just ask someone to unmute and answer a question. It's a good piece of interaction. It gets people used to using the technology as well. Also, it's a chance for you to kind of back off a little bit and have a moment where they are having to make some decisions, and it's some good visual feedback as well. And it can open up discussions. So for instance, in the poll that we did initially, if I go to this one, multiple choice, so we got Zoom, but if someone goes other, if you've got a couple of people who put other, you can say, well, in the chat, just tell me what other ones are you using? Just out of interest, go to the chat, and if you've clicked the other button, what other ones are you using? And they'll come up with some ones that you might not have heard of. And again, that's a nice piece of interaction. You get people, I haven't heard of that one. And if it's really interesting, and if you have time, and if you think it's suitable, you could even ask that person, well, if you don't mind, can you unmute and tell me what the benefits are, what the fallbacks of that is? And again, a fantastic way to get a little bit of interaction, which is beyond just talking to a webcam, which is essentially what we do now for a living. If you're someone who is a trainer, the webcam is your friend, and it gives someone else a chance to shine. It gives someone else's voice a chance, and can be a great way to increase engagement. And just again, it's a bit of a distraction for people who are engaged with your particular course. Well, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found this useful and informative. If you have, give it a bit of a thumbs up. If you're on LinkedIn or Facebook, you can even give it one of the reactions. A little heart, a little love, or inspiring would be fantastic. If you're watching on YouTube, by all means subscribe to the channel so you can see more content like this, or like my Facebook page, and I'm more than happy to accept connections on LinkedIn. Just say you've seen the YouTube video, you'd like to connect with me, and then you can keep up to date with other things that I've either put up previously or the stuff that I'll be putting up going forward. Thanks very much. Have a fabulous day. Keep well, keep safe. Thanks for watching.